Hi guys! Hi guys! Hi Shamin!
Yo, Shamines, why did you bring the plant?
Adib, how do you not remember? It's our SCL project, bro.
Oh, really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, where's Ain guys? Ain, hurry up! Wait!
Guys, let's start our exploration on this plant.
Plants are multicellular organisms that contain chlorophyll A, B and carotenoids. They are autotrophic, meaning they have photosynthetic abilities with starch as their primary food storage. Their cell walls are composed of cellulose. One significant evolutionary adaptation is the development of vascular tissues for water and nutrient transport.
Wow, I just learned about that. Did you guys know the reproductive structure and the adaptation of plants?
I have no idea, Faris. Can you elaborate more?
Alright, so let's we explore about the adaptation of plants to life on land. First, plants have vascular tissues. Vascular tissues in plants is for water and nutrient transport. Next, the plants have leaves that have stomata. This is due to the plants to have gases exchange and prevent the water loss. Next, the plants also have a waxy cuticle. Waxy cuticle is to prevent desiccation. And last, plants have protected reproductive structure, that retention of the embryonic sporophyte within the female gametophyte.
Guys, I have read about the alteration of generation. For your information,
plants undergo a life cycle called alternation of generations, where they alternate between the haploid gametophyte stage and the diploid sporophyte stage. Gametophytes produce gametes by mitosis and sporophytes produce spores by meiosis.
Yeah, it's true. I've learned about this before.
The first group is called bryophytes. All bryophytes are non-vascular seedless plants. This means they do not have specialized tissues like xylem and phloem to transport water and nutrients. Instead, they absorb water directly through their surfaces. Moreover, they reproduce using spores, which are tiny reproductive cells that help them spread and grow in new locations. Unlike most plants, bryophytes do not have true roots, leaves, or vascular tissues. Instead of roots, they have rhizoids, which are small, root-like structures that help anchor the plant to the ground, though they don't absorb water or nutrients as roots do. Their flat and broad tissues contain chloroplasts, allowing them to carry out photosynthesis and produce food for the plant. Bryophytes are most commonly found in moist environments. Water is essential for their reproduction. For asexual reproduction, they disperse gemmy, small reproductive structures that need a watery medium like rain for dispersal. A good example is Macontia, a type of liverworts that uses this method. For sexual reproduction, bryophytes produce flagellated sperm cells that swim through water to reach the female reproductive structure, called the aragonia. So without water, sexual reproduction cannot occur in bryophytes.
Let me elaborate more on the characteristics of bryophytes. The dominant generation in bryophytes is the gametophyte, which performs photosynthesis, while the saurophytes depends on the gametophyte for nutrients. Bryophytes have structures like archegonia for females and antheridia for males, which produce gametes. Bryophytes don't have true roots, stems, or leaves, and they rely on water for reproduction. Basically, they are the stay-at-home plants, always needing to be near water. If they had social media, their status would be currently soaking up the vibes.
Okay, Shamin, let's moving on. Bryophytes are classified into 3 phyla. First, phylum Bryophyta. For instance, mosses like polytrichum. Sporophytes consist of capsule, seta, and foot or leaf. Capsule is where the spore is produced, while seta is the stalk that connects sporangium to gametophytes, and foot or leaf are used to transfer nutrients and water from gametophyte to capsule. The leafy gametophytes are photosynthetic and house of the reproductive organs. It reproduces via spores, and their sporophytes are dependent on the gametophyte for nutrition. They thrive in diverse habitats, contributing to soil stability. For example, Polytrichum species and Sphagnum. Other than that, phylum Hepatophyta, which are liverworts like Marchantia, it has flattened thallus or leafy appearance and unicellular rhizoids which anchors the plant to the soil. It lacks of stomata and only has air pores for gaseous exchange. Thallus is dichotomously branched and exhibits apical growth, for example, Marchantia species. Finally, there is phylum Anthocerophyta, which are hornworts like Anthocerus. It grows in moist, shaded, and warm temperate regions. The sporophyte is photosynthetic and provides energy needed for growth and reproduction. Sporophytes may develop on the same gametophyte from which they gain nutrition. Gametophyte resembles the thallus liverworts, for example, Anthocerus punctatus.
Furthermore, bryophytes have some adaptations, which are walled spores produced in sporangium. Spores are haploid cells. Walls of haploid spores contain sporopollenin, which makes the wall tough and resistant to harsh environments. It also enables the wind-carried spores to disperse through air without being desiccated. The outer tissue of sporangium protects spores until they are released into air. On the other hand, gametes are produced within gametangia. Gametangia has a layer of sterile non-reproductive cells that surrounds and protect gametes. Diploid zygote develops into embryos within the female gametangia. Thus, the embryo is protected during its development.
Bryophytes are among the simplest land plants, yet they have evolved unique adaptation to survive on land. One key adaptation is the development of a multicellular, dependent embryo. Once fertilization occurs, the diploid zygote forms and begins to develop into a diploid embryo. This happens within a specialized structure called the argonium. While the embryo grows, it's dependent on the surrounding gametophyte tissue for nourishment. The gametophyte not only provides water and nutrients, but also carries out photosynthesis, which supplies energy for the embryo's development. This close relationship between the embryo and gametophyte is crucial for survival in terrestrial environments. Another adaptation bryophytes use to survive on land is water conservation. In certain bryophytes, the epidermis of leaves and other aerial structures is coated with a waxy cuticle. This cuticle acts as a barrier, preventing excessive water loss due to evaporation. Without this adaptation, bryophytes would be at a high risk of drying out or desiccating, which can be fatal in dry conditions. The cuticle plays a critical role in allowing bryophytes to retain moisture in their cells, helping them thrive even in environments where water is scarce. A third adaptation seen in bryophytes is the production of walled spores within a structure called the sporangium. Bryophyte spores are haploid cells, meaning they carry only a single set of chromosomes. These spores have thick walls made of sporopellenin, a tough material that provides protection against environmental stress. This resilience allows the spores to survive the challenges of dispersal through air, including UV radiation and drying out. The outer layers of the sporangium further protect the spores until they are ready to be released into the air, enabling them to spread and colonize new areas. The fourth adaptation is the presence of a multicellular gametangium, which is the structure where gametes or reproductive cells are produced. The gametangium includes a protective layer of non-reproductive or sterile cells that shield the developing gametes from environmental hazards. Following fertilization, the diploid zygote forms and begins to develop into an embryo within the female gametangium. This protective environment ensures that the embryo is safe as it develops, a vital advantage in the often harsh conditions of terrestrial habitats. In summary, bryophytes have adapted to life on land through several key strategies, including a multicellular dependent embryo, water-conserving cuticle, walled spores, and protective gametangium structures. These adaptations have enabled them to transition from aquatic environments to land, surviving and reproducing in diverse terrestrial ecosystems.
Next, we move on to the second group of Plantae, which is pteridophyte. Basically, pteridophytes contain 5 unique characteristics, which is first, seedless plants, vascular plants, true roots, stems and leaves, alternation of generation, which is dominant generation in sporophyte, and lastly is sexual reproduction. Now, let's explore one by one the unique characteristics of pteridophytes. First, we have seedless plants. It is mean the pteridophytes Plantae do not produce any seeds. Second, we have vascular plants, which is the pteridophytes have simple or not well-developed vascular tissues to transport water and nutrients or minerals and provide mechanical support. Third, the pteridophyte also have true roots, stems and leaves, which is sporophyte has true roots, stems and leaves due to the presence of vascular tissues. Sporophyte also has adventitious roots and waterproof cuticle on the leaf. Next, pteridophyte also have dominant generation in sporophyte in alternation of generations because of the size is large and long-lived. The young sporophyte dependent on the gametophyte is for nutrition, and the matured sporophyte is not dependent on the gametophyte for nutrition because it can carry out the photosynthesis. And lastly, sexual reproduction. The habitat of pteridophytes is most common in moist place, so the fertilization is fully dependent on watering medium because the flagellated sperm cell must swim through water to reach the egg cell and form a zygote in female organ reproduction.
First, notice the microphyls. These are small needle-like leaves that closely cover the branches and the stem. Unlike many other plants, the microphyls of Lycopodium have a single strand of vascular tissue, making them quite unique. Next, we have the strobilus, the cone-shaped structure. It's made up of a group of sporophyls. Sporophyls are modified leaves that bear sporangia, specialized structures that contain the spores. The spores are a crucial part of the plant's reproductive cycle. Lycopodium is not only remarkable in its structure, but its spores have been used in fascinating ways. Did you know that dried spores of Lycopodium are highly flammable? They were once used as flash powder for early cameras and even as a component in fireworks. So next time you see a Lycopodium plant, remember, it's not just a piece of nature, but it has a unique history of utility as well. Here, we have an illustration of a typical Selaginella sporophyte. As you can see, the plant has a strobilus, which is a specialized reproductive structure. The strobilus is a cone-like feature where the spores are produced. The strobilus contains both male and female reproductive parts, making Selaginella heterosporous. This means that it produces two different types of spores, which is megaspores and microspores. Let's take a closer look at these reproductive structures. On the female side, you can see the megasporophylls, which holds the megasporangium. Inside the megasporangium, we find the developing megaspores, which will eventually give rise to female gametophytes. On the male side, we have the microsporophyll and microsporangium. The microsporangium contains microspores, which will develop into male gametophytes. These structures are key to understanding how this plant reproduces. As we can see, both structures are found in the same strobilus but serve different reproductive roles. The megaspores are larger and fewer in number, while the microspores are smaller and produced in greater quantity.
The gametophyte stage of Bryopteris species consists of prothallus, which is a green heart-shaped photosynthetic structure that grows flat on or just below the soil surface. This structure features both archegonia and antheridia on its underside, allowing for the production of gametes. It also consists of rhizoids, which anchor the prothallus to the soil, providing stability and support. During the early stages of development, the young sporophyte relies on the gametophyte for nutrition, highlighting the interdependence of these life stages. In contrast, the mature sporophyte of Bryopteris species is characterized by its fronds, roots, and rhizomes, which are all equipped with vascular tissues. One prominent feature is the sorus, a cluster of sporangia found on the underside of the fronds. Each sorus is protected by a flap of tissue known as the indusium. The sporangia, which are multicellular organs resembling sacs, produce spores that are released when they rupture. The fern's sporophyte develops these reproductive structures on its leaves, marking a significant phase in its life cycle. Okay guys, that's all for our topic today. Guys. Okay guys, that's all for our topic today. Guys.
Wow! Wow! The end of our result turns out very well.
Thank you guys. Thank you for all your hard work.
Wait! Don't forget thanks our viewers!
Bye guys!
Thanks for watching guys!